Hi, and welcome to the Skincarma Pod. I'm Carmine, the creator and voice of the Skincarma blog. With more than 25 years in beauty as a brand builder, copywriter, and skincare junkie, I'm putting my product wisdom and expertise to work demystifying skincare. On today's episode of the Skincarma Pod, I'm joined by Anne-Marie Simpson-Einziger and Mike Einziger, the husband and wife duo behind one of the most compelling science-first skincare brands on the market today, Mother Science. Their story begins not in a lab, but on tour, when Anne-Marie noticed a strange flower-like pattern appear on her skin. What followed was 6 years of research, countless scientific conversations, and a breakthrough discovery of a molecule produced naturally on our skin, Malassezin. What I love about their approach is found in this brand statement. We're not a skincare brand dabbling in science. We're a science company that expresses itself through skincare. Everything Mother Science creates is built on that tenet, from their patented microbiome-derived molecule to their dual antioxidant philosophy, and even their mission to educate the world about oxidaging, the oxidative stress that drives so much of visible skin aging. Today, we're diving into the origin story, the science, and that futuristic microbiome molecule Malassezin that feels straight from the Starship Enterprise holodeck. I want to explore how this molecule is reshaping the conversation around antioxidants, what inspired the innovation, and how Mother Science is paving the way for the future of skincare. So let's do it. Let's talk with Anne-Marie and Mike. Anne-Marie, Mike, hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Same. It's so good to see you guys again. I'm so excited. I don't know why we waited so long. I guess because it was the holidays, but I'm like, when is that conversation with Mother Science happening? But here we are.
Well, it's good to do it in a fresh new year.
Yeah, exactly, right?
New year,
Totally.
new
It's yeah. And I had the chance to use the products all through the holidays.
Awesome.
So that was cool. Yeah, that was super cool. But before we jump into the products and the science and all of that, can you maybe both introduce yourselves to the listeners? Because I venture to guess they don't know much about you.
Yeah, let's do this. Mike, you go first.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'm Mike Einziger, co-founder of Mother Science, Anne-Marie's husband, lucky me. And I think I'm known probably to more people out there as a co-founder and guitar player of the band Incubus, and co-founder of a networking technology company called Mix Halo, as which Anne-Marie is also a co-founder of. And musician, written songs for a lot of other artists as well. Worked with a lot of people like Tyler the Creator and Skrillex and Hans Zimmer, and have what I call a vaguely scientific background as well. I studied history of science at Harvard, and I'm what I would call like a physics enthusiast. So that's my history in a nutshell. Now it's Anne-Marie's turn.
I'm Mike's wife, and I feel like our biographies are so intertwined. We both have musical backgrounds. I grew up playing the violin my whole life, doing a fellowship with the National Symphony Orchestra when I was very young, then going on to have a career as a violin soloist, playing with various artists, and then also film composing with Hans Zimmer. That's actually one of the connectors in our relationship is Hans and working together with him. And my background is also vaguely scientific. I studied biology at the University of Virginia, did pre-medicine, and then I went on actually to teach conceptual physics and chemistry at the all-boys, all-boarding school, Woodbury Forest School in Virginia. I would call myself a citizen scientist because I feel like I'm not somebody who went the traditional route of getting the PhDs in the very on-the-head molecular development title roles, but I always had scientific literacy and a burning curiosity to answer questions and trusting science to help me find truth. And that's a passion that both Michael and I have. We really adore the scientific process, the process of let's keep going and proving a hypothesis. And if it's wrong, we have to let it all go. If it's correct, we get to move forward in the light that the science created. We moved at the pace of science, and we've got very curious about a specific molecule that we'll share more on later. But that's our background in a nutshell, and a little bit about us.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you both pursued science more than I pursued science. And I don't know why I didn't, because science, until I went into language, science was my favorite. All the sciences were my favorite classes in high school and college. Like I remember astronomy was my most challenging class, but I still loved it the most. So I love that. And it's so interesting that you share music and science. They're very similar parts of the brain, right? And I'm assuming that neither of you thought you would end up founding a skincare brand through all of that.
No,
that was definitely not the plan in the beginning. But it fell together in all of the sort of best ways, and it's an amazing educational journey, learning experience for both of us, and it's just been really fun.
Yeah, I feel like you are included in this cohort of people who are lifelong learners. I feel like you saying that you never studied science, that is only partially true in the formal sense, because we are every day turning new pages, curious and learning more and more about molecules, learning more about astronomy, the things that interest us and excite us. And it's funny because once we stop pursuing a formal degree, sometimes we stop giving ourselves the credit for what we've learned and the body of work that we are fascinated with and mastering at a citizen level. So I love that in the beauty community, there are a lot of people who are actually scientists that don't have a formal title, but they've been studying the names of molecules, they understand skin biology, and because of their own curiosity, they've amassed a very significant body of knowledge. Nothing that a degree is put upon, but that body of knowledge is something that we all share, and it's infinitely fascinating to just talk about that and share what we've learned with other people who are interested in learning as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably what attracted me most to the brand, that it's so interesting and intellectually curious. And I really love that. I have a question. Were either of you Star Trek fans growing up?
Not I mean, because I know people who are Star Trek fans, like
like hardcore. Yeah,
I definitely didn't fall into that category.
Yeah,
but it's a cool show. I'll say that.
I was an originalist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a lot older than I look.
I'll tell you.
Oh my God, are you kidding? I loved Land of the Lost. Have you tried to watch it since?
I've dabbled.
It's really disturbing, right? It's so like
they don't make them
bad.
Like they used to, do they?
We have much higher expectations then. I don't even know what I was thinking.
It hits a little different,
It totally does. You know what I actually started to try to watch again? It's on Peacock, is The $6 Million Man. It's the same kind of thing. Like, oh my God, the acting is so bad.
Yeah, there were some great shows back then.
Yeah, for
great
sure.
Space Coaster.
Yes.
What I love about science fiction is when it's done really well, it's predicting the future. Good science fiction writers are they're on the bleeding edge of what technology is doing, and they're predictive. And I love how science fiction, it always builds a new world, and you just have to believe the new rules of this world. And that's like a really, really exciting place to be when you're reading. And also when you're just trying to invent something. You're envisioning a world that's different. You're envisioning the future and trying to usher it in.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you seen Gentlemen Broncos?
What is it?
Gentlemen Broncos.
I have not.
It was an amazing film made by the director who created Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre. Kind of like the weird movie that he made. And it's a science fiction movie, and you should check it out. It's awesome. It's
all right. I'll check it out. I am admittedly a fan of Barbarella.
You should check out it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Cool. I will. So let's
I'm warning you, it's weird, but it's fantastic.
It's super weird.
Okay. I challenge accepted. Let's go back to the genesis. I know I'm using that word because you've used that word.
Yes.
To the genesis of the brand and the moment on tour where Anne-Marie, you discovered you had you were confronted with this skin mystery that became the spark for 6 years of scientific innovation. So take us back to that moment.
Yes. So close your eyes and picture that you are performing on stage with A.R. Rahman in India. And you've been there for a few weeks wearing tight costuming and sweating more than you've ever sweat in your sweet life. When you get home, you realize that there's a patch of skin on your back that is just brighter than the rest of your skin. And it doesn't go away even when you go out in the sun, and it's persistent enough that you go see a dermatologist who tells you not to worry. It's a very common skin condition that happens when your microbiome on your skin just overgrows a little, usually caused by sweating and wearing tight clothing. It tells you that you just have to put on a little bit of a Selsun Blue shampoo, and it'll all restore itself and go back to normal. And now imagine that you're me and you're really curious. The first question you have is, wow, what's causing my skin to be lighter and brighter in this area? It's not harmful, and it's common, and it's something that's already on my skin that overgrew. So it must be something that is safe and part of my body. And I had all these questions. I wanted to know why it had brightened. And then I also wanted to know, was it brightened because there was sunblock? Was it brightened because it was reducing the damage that sun is doing when it helps us tan? And I had all these questions, and I just talked about them with Mike all the time. I was like, why is this happening? And instead of seeing it as this problem, the diagnosis was the feature. The lightened skin was like this thing that I wanted to figure out. And we went on this quest to understand what had happened. That quest of finding out what was happening on my back led us to discovering Malassezin. Basically, the hypothesis I had was that when my microbiome was reacting to the new conditions, it overproduced a yeast that we're born with. It's a commensal yeast that's on our skin from birth. That yeast, my research led me to learn, is called Malassezia furfur. Malassezia furfur, as it's living happily with us on our skin, produces these byproducts. And our body loves these byproducts. And that's why this yeast has been able to co-evolve with us. And when I looked through the list of all the byproducts that this yeast made, one stood out as novel and as just a beautiful molecule. And that molecule was called Malassezin. And looking at Malassezin, we didn't know how it was going to work or what it was doing for skin. And that began many years of research and discovery where we learned that it's an amazing molecule for the skin. We have this molecule on our skin for a reason, and it's doing good things for us. It's doing good things for the health of the skin. Mike, do you want to talk about some of the things we learned about Malassezin?
Well, we learned that it's a very potent antioxidant, and that it seems to do a really good job of regulating the skin barrier. We believe that the role Malassezin seems to play is in just achieving balance in the skin. Like it seems to be like a good sort of just balancing mechanism. And when our skin is overproducing certain things, or the microbiome is growing in a way that's abnormal, Malassezin's job seems to be to make everything stay calm. So it seems to have like a very strong, profound calming effect on the skin, which is great. And those are things also that we weren't really anticipating. We didn't know we were going to see some of those things. So when we started testing it very early on, people that were applying it to their skin were seeing improvement in their texture, in the way that their skin felt in addition to achieving, better, improvement on their fine lines and wrinkles. None of that stuff we were anticipating. We kind of had
surprised us.
we kind of had an idea that we might see the dark spot improvement, because that was what we were sort of looking for at first.
Yeah. Clinically, when you have an overgrowth of the Malassezia furfur, people present with these lightened patches of skin that don't burn in the sun. So we were expecting, okay, if we extract Malassezin, which we hypothesized was responsible for these changes in the skin, we wanted to see, okay, what's that going to do to dark patches of skin? And we ran our first clinical study on Malassezin for skin that had hyperpigmentation.
Right.
And we were blown away when we started looking at the faces up close. And we were seeing that there were positive texture changes. There were fine lines and wrinkles that were being minimized. There was just smoother skin. And of course, we did see the brightening, and we saw the more even skin tone and the brighter skin tone. So we saw what we were looking for and more. And that's when we realized that we had something that wasn't just a landmark skin brightening ingredient.
Right.
We also had something that was just a landscape changing ingredient, something that impacts multiple signs of skin aging and skin health for the better.
And the participants in the studies were reporting a lot of the texture changes and stuff themselves. So some of the ways that the changes were being measured was through instrumentation and also through photography. But then also the subjects would
Self-report.
They would report, they'd fill out a questionnaire, et cetera, and they would talk about how they felt the Malassezin was impacting the way their skin feels, and et cetera. And it was just really surprising and so interesting to have seen all of that.
Well, I'll tell you, and I told you there was going to be a surprise. Here's the surprise.
You hit the bottom.
I hit the bottom. I hit the bottom of a product that I never finish products, because there's always something coming or 10 things coming.
Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed most over the holidays was that my skin was much softer and smoother.
Yep.
And, I don't have a lot of I don't have any hyperpigmentation. Yeah. I have very few dark spots. So I wasn't going to notice anything like that. But I guess the roughness was, and especially, it was especially noticeable on my forehead. And I am constantly touching my forehead, because I have this device, a neurostimulator device that sticks to these diodes that attach to my forehead that I wear pretty much every morning, because I have this really erratic trigeminal nerve. And so I'm very aware of how my forehead feels. And I was like, wait, something's going on. What is different? And it was that. It was this.
Yay! So that's the beauty. Malassezin, we make a lot of cosmetic claims about how it's this amazing skin brightener, because it is. It really works. You see effects, and skin hyperpigmentation is a stubborn issue for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it can be caused by just age. It can be caused by injury to the skin, by sun damage, hormones. There's all these different reasons that people get hyperpigmentation. And there are just very few ingredients that really are efficacious that are available over the counter. And even prescription, there are people who struggle with going through the whole prescription route, and they don't find what they're looking for. And to bring a new active that works in a different way, that would actually complement anything else that they're doing to work on their hyperpigmentation issues, to bring that in is very transformational.
Yeah, so for sure.
That story. But going back to the term landscape changing ingredient, when an ingredient is able to impact multiple areas of skin health, and you see effects over things like texture and fine lines and evenness of skin tone, in addition to working on hyperpigmentation, there are very few ingredients that do that. I can count them on one hand. Retinol is an example of that. Vitamin C can address multiple issues of skin health, but it's a very short list of of workhorse ingredients that changed the landscape this way. And we feel so lucky that we had the opportunity to discover a molecule that can do all of these things for skin health. It sounds unbelievable. When we ran our first clinical study, Mike noted that we used self-reported observation, but we used instrumentation as well to measure everything. And when we measured with the instrumentation, 100% improvement in everything that we were measuring. I mean, 100% of the participants had improvement in everything that we were measuring, and 100% had zero irritation. And those kind of numbers just seem unreal. So when we talk about this product, we always talk about peeling the onion. We lead with talking about how there are benefits to hyperpigmentation because it's so innovative in that way. There's not a lot of ingredients that treat that. And then we let it all unfold. You peel back the next layer and you learn, oh, actually, it's going to be doing wonderful things for your fine lines and wrinkles. Oh, you're going to probably notice really smooth skin after 2 weeks. And it's just a beautiful molecule in that way. There's so much to talk about with Malassezin.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that for sure. I do want to bring something up that really stood out for me. You know that I'm a copywriter who specializes in branding. And so I read this one statement about the brand that goes, "We're not a skincare brand dabbling in science. We're a science company that expresses itself through skincare." And I just love that.
Yeah. I mean, we were mentioning before, we didn't set out to build a skincare brand. We sort of set up like a little scientific advisory board at first and just dove in to answer questions and learn about this thing that, Anne-Marie identified, this concept of how the skin, naturally has this ability to control the pigmentation and then also protect itself from the sun in this reversible, harmless way that's not negative for the skin in any way. Just answering questions around that was the impetus for when we started. And then when we got a little further down the road, we realized that we had discovered something really unique, and that we could actually create a product that could serve the world. I mean, and the best and highest use of the technology that we were developing was to create a product that wouldn't just be limited to like a small group of people someplace. It was like something that, if we could make it happen, right? Like if we could execute on our ideas and actually like do what we were dreaming about, it would be to make something that could really have an impact on the whole world. And so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, Mike speaks to what we always talk about as finding the highest purpose for our discovery. And it was really thrilling to publish papers and to get all of that data. But the highest purpose is once you find something that can impact people's lives, you have to deliver it to people so that they can actually experience it and have that benefit. And that's where Mother Science was born. And that's where we took our technology and put it into consumer skincare so that they don't just read about this amazing molecule, they can actually put that molecule on their skin.
Yeah. Can we talk about the Mother Science name? Every time I bring it up, people are like, "Wait, what is it called?" And I completely get that it's a nod to nature as the original scientist, but like, what was the inspiration behind that? How did you come up with that?
So, like all things, it came out of a point of desperation where it was time for us to name.
We were going back and forth, and we couldn't.
We would come up with a name, and it would be taken like all the good names are.
Always.
Or just
Yeah. So we were driving down PCH, and I remember thinking like, okay, I'm gonna just be inspired by science because this is where everything came from. This was like, it was born through science. And I was thinking, why don't I just look up some of the mothers and fathers of science? So the great inventors who laid the way, and just see if something like inspiring comes up from that random search. And when I looked up mothers and fathers of science, I realized immediately that it was like mostly fathers of science. Mothers of science were really rare.
Mothers of science were very underrepresented.
Yeah.
That's
right.
I was like, okay, you know what? Their discovery is rare. Like a mother of science.
Yeah.
rare discovery. And we have a female founder. It just felt like there was something special about that word.
Mm.
And when I said the word mother science out loud, it evoked an immediate parallel to Mother Nature.
Yeah.
In beauty, we have often historically trusted Mother Nature to give us solutions that are good for ourselves, good for the planet. And moving forward into the future, I believe in science. I believe in science to solve our hardest problems. And science is of nature. It's when you study nature and really get to the essence of it. That's where science emerges. So I was looking at the beautiful sister of Mother Science, of Mother Nature, and it was Mother Science. And so it made sense that we had to call our brand Mother Science.
Yeah, when she said it, we were driving
That's
in the
amazing.
car, and it was just kind of one of those light bulb moments where it's like, of course, this is what we're going to call the brand. Like, it just seemed like this is the greatest name. It's so simple, but also unique and thought provoking, and totally embodies like what we're trying to do. So I think once she came up with the name, like there was no question about what we were going to call it.
There's also a geeky science chemistry teacher Easter egg in the title.
Okay. Yeah.
So you know how there's those dots?
Yeah, totally. I wasn't going to ask you, but I've noticed them every time I've looked at it.
So depending on how we
the dots,
the dots are either under the O or the C.
Right.
So so there's double C in that product, and then when we lay it out in the long format, it's under the O and the C.
Mm-hmm.
So in chemistry, the O represents oxygen, and C is the building block of all life, as carbon. And a lot of times we draw these diagrams called Lewis dot diagrams to show the electron bonding structure of how molecules or how elements come together to form molecules.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 dots are 2 of the 8 electrons. It's the free paired electrons of oxygen and carbon.
There.
Yep. There we go. So that's carbon with a pair of electrons ready to make a bond.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that is so geeky.
Yeah.
So geeky.
And you don't get much of a chance to talk about it, so.
Yes.
But those who know, they know.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so insider secret. I love it.
Yep.
It's very geeky, but I did teach chemistry. I graded tons of Lewis dot diagrams.
You're still teaching chemistry.
That's exactly.
That we're all teaching chemistry.
Yes. Oh my God. All right, let's jump into Malassezin as an antioxidant. It does like all these amazing things, but I'm so fascinated by its antioxidant potency. And when we talked in our initial call, I'm pretty sure that we talked about how I feel like antioxidants kind of get short shrift in the beauty space. Brands don't talk about antioxidants as much as they should. When I worked in-house at L'Oreal, like antioxidants were considered a science story for 20-year-old skin. And I always thought that was such nonsense. So like what makes Malassezin fundamentally different than more familiar antioxidants like vitamin C, green tea extract, retinol, ferulic acid? I mean, I could go on and on and on.
So antioxidants work by neutralizing free radicals, which are these, basically they're like the bull in the china cabinet that comes into our healthy skin and rips off electrons in these very violent ways, and they cause all the effects of aging. And antioxidants help to neutralize these free radicals that are coming in and trying to rip off these extra electrons. And the way that Malassezin is different, at first blush, if you're comparing it to vitamin C, we have done ROS testing to show that we are 10 times more powerful than vitamin C. Our molecule is also incredibly stable, unlike vitamin C, which struggles to stay stable in formulation for a significant period of time. There has been some innovation around that, but our formulation stays remarkably effective for the course of the entire lifespan of the product. The other thing, if you want to speak to it about how not all free radicals are created equally.
Why don't you talk about it? Because these are astute observations that you came up with that I think are really important, that are strong differentiators for what Malassezin does in terms of its antioxidant activity versus others, just particularly vitamin C. Yeah, you can talk about that.
So not all free radicals are created equal. And the parallel that I like to make is when you look at sunscreen, you know that it's filtering out UVA and UVB. And those are the most damaging frequencies from the sun that we're trying to protect our skin from. But actually, light, just visible light, can damage skin. It's just way less damaging. It's very abundant. And vitamin C is kind of like the scavenging, the most abundant, but least damaging type of free radical that we have out there. There are two specific types of free radicals that are much more damaging. They're the most energetic ones. And when we run for the specific type of antioxidant activity that we have and the specific type of free radical that we are able to neutralize
with Malassezin,
we are able to neutralize the top most damaging free radicals, the free radicals that eventually turn into the less damaging free radicals as they progress through their lifespan. So it's really exciting to me that at first blush, yeah, we can do 10 times more than vitamin C. But when you take a deeper look, we're scavenging the most damaging types of free radicals out there. And people don't really talk about full spectrum antioxidant protection. They just
keep it never, yeah.
One note, like
it's like a one size fits all type of thing, but there's actually a lot of nuance there, and like Anne-Marie said, like they're not all created equal, and some types are more damaging than others.
Like we could make the claim that if you look at a specific type of very damaging free radical, that we are 300 times more effective than vitamin C. So there's multiple layers of how you would look at which free radical that you're testing for.
Fascinating. I mean, we could walk up on antioxidants all afternoon. Like you just really piqued something in me. Like I hadn't even thought about. I didn't even realize that free radicals have different levels of damage and potency. That's so fascinating.
Yeah, to me, it's really fascinating to think about the term, like we know about the term inflammaging, the aging that happens because of inflammation. It's not a word that you're actually allowed to use when you're describing a beauty product. That's a language that you use for therapeutic. There are some brands that will like just walk that out and cautiously use it. But we're very careful not to use language that would get us a slap on the wrist from regulatory. We are allowed to talk about antioxidant protection. And I love the idea of oxidative aging and oxidaging, and kind of coining that to be something that we are the experts on. Not only are we a new molecule and writing a playbook on how you introduce new landscape changing molecules to the beauty industry, we want to also be able to educate on finer points to antioxidants and free radical behavior.
I'm going to work the word oxidaging into the episode title. How about that?
Yeah. Then it'll be like the first mention.
Yeah. Apple won't pick that up in their SEO, but you got to start somewhere.
Let's do it. We're birthing the concept and making record of it.
Yeah. Can I ask? I know, and I think many of our listeners know that the FDA regulates, sunscreen claims. What does the FDA? You alluded to. What does the FDA say about antioxidant claims? Like, do they say anything? There are some constraints. Yes.
I mean, I think if you went and started talking about structure and function change, that you might be able to see the result of an antioxidant activity, but we are allowed to make claims about our antioxidant ability. We can say that it's 10 times more powerful than vitamin C. We can say that we have antioxidant properties. We aren't allowed to say that we reduce inflammation.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yes. Although a lot of companies will play in that gray space, there are some loopholes if you're just doing research on the molecule and not talking about the brand. Then you are allowed to publish and use that therapeutic language. You are allowed to say that inflammation is downregulated. You're allowed to talk about treating a specific condition like melasma. But in the beauty world, that is a no-no. We have to stay to the cosmetic claims and stay away from the therapeutic claims.
Right. Stay on the surface.
Yeah. And we really believe in holding that bright line with Mother Science, that we stay on the clean side of regulatory and we don't say that language. But at the same time, we are pursuing the most rigorous scientific research that you can pursue, to just understand and characterize these molecules that we've discovered and find their highest purpose.
Is the whole the whole ORAC score that rates antioxidants, is that something that they push back against? Is there a reason why brands don't talk about that?
No, you can talk about it. And I think that the reason that brands don't talk about it is likely because it might not test well. It might not be something that consumers have been educated to yet. I feel like education kind of comes up in different constellations. There are different moments for people wanting to peel back a layer of a very science heavy argument. I feel like a good argument is like when vaccines started coming out for COVID, all of a sudden people were looking at like, oh, what is mRNA?
All of a sudden everybody's a virologist and
right. Totally.
So I mean, that information was always out there and was always fascinating and was always there to change people's lives.
Yeah.
But it took like a cultural moment for people to like really be interested in that story.
Right.
And I feel like with a brand, and there's so much noise, if you bring up ORAC score and somebody doesn't know what that is, they're not going to sit there and really look at it unless they're a very specific type of consumer and they're not trying to reach that one little needlehead. They're trying to reach a larger group.
Right.
But I feel like our purpose in this brand, education, is at the heart of it. To us, the win.
Starting with us, by the way, because that's like, we're learning ourselves and going through this process. So, it's fun to be able to share, what we've learned, but we also obviously, like we want people to be able to discover these things on their own and make up their minds for themselves about how they take that information.
Yeah. To me, Malassezin and people being able to hear that molecule and know that this is a good molecule for my skin. That's the first step. And that's even brand agnostic. They don't even need to know Mother Science exists. If they know about Malassezin, I feel like I will have achieved some life work.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if they hear about Malassezin and are curious and they purchase the Mother Science, they're going to have a lovely experience. They're going to have an experience where they've tried something that they've never tried before and they see a result. And that's kind of magical. There's many times that I bought something that claimed it was going to do something good for my skin and just didn't see the result.
It did nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so exciting because I know this molecule inside and out, and I know how good it is for the skin. And I know that if you try Malassezin in any of our Mother Science formulations, you're going to see results in one bottle.
So can we talk about the formulations? Let's start with your hero product.
Yes.
Which is the Molecular Hero Serum, right? This is your inaugural product where you first introduced Malassezin to the world. Yeah.
So Molecular Hero Serum, we formulated it specifically to address dark spots. Earlier on, when we talked about Malassezin and how it has these amazing properties, we saw this as an opportunity to reach a market that was really frustrated with dark spot treatments that were irritating on their skin or just not efficacious. And here's a new molecule that you can use daily that's going to give you really great results and be gentle on your skin. So this has our highest concentration of Malassezin in it. And you can use this for dark spots. You can use this for texture. You can use this for brightening,
fine lines and wrinkles. Texture. It's really, really good for all of those things.
And then our second product, the retinol synergist. We formulated this specifically for the fine lines and wrinkles because when people were using our Molecular Hero Serum, they were noticing that there were some texture changes. And because we know this molecule so well, we knew that it would pair fantastically with retinols. Yes. Retinol is it's a gold standard for treating fine lines and wrinkles. There's data on it that is decades old. It works. But retinol can cause irritation in some people, and pairing it with Malassezin actually decreases the irritation. We're able to neutralize the retinization process, which is where you get the irritation, and also allow the retinol to work faster and to work better. So they work synergistically. The name was chosen with a lot of intention. And we like to think that with retinol, for people who had a hard time using retinol because it was irritating for their skin. Yeah. So you get to have transformational results because the Malassezin is helping the retinol work better. Plus, Malassezin is also doing its thing alongside the retinol.
Yeah.
So you get two courses in one bottle. And then yes,
your favorite.
The last one.
I intentionally saved just a little bit for the podcast so that I could at least apply it to the back of my hand.
Yes, I love this moisturizer. So this was developed because none of our products have moisturizing characteristics. They're not like built to be like before this one. The Hero Serum and the retinol were just intended to be really powerful transformational serums. And we knew that we wanted to have a moisturizer because that would just pair well with everything that we created before. And we also knew that Malassezin would do beautiful things to the skin. And the formula for this moisturizer is so special. It's like really rich, but then it just soaks into your skin and it doesn't leave you feeling super greasy or heavy. It just like it goes into your skin. It's a miraculous formulation. So I feel like this came out because we knew it would pair so well with the retinol and also our earlier serum, the Molecular Hero Serum.
Yeah, but it feels like it is, and it feels like more than just a product, that you use as the last step in your skincare routine before bed or before sunscreen. It feels like something that's very active and that it's doing something besides moisturizing.
Our clinical results, people saw changes like they were using an active, not just a moisturizer.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, clinical studies for moisturizers are usually really boring. It's like, yes, the skin is more moisturized. But ours were so exciting because it was like your skin is more moisturized and your fine lines and wrinkles are being minimized and your dark spots are lightening. It was just like, it was doing all the things because Malassezin is that girl.
Yeah. So your backgrounds in music trained you to see patterns, systems, and harmonies, which kind of interestingly parallel how you talk about biology.
Yeah, it's all sort of the same thing to me. It's all just identifying patterns. Like I think that's just everything in life, with everything.
Yeah.
So it all kind of gets filed into the same, categories and at least in the way I look at things.
Is that how you approach discovery and problem solving?
Yeah. I mean, in music, for example, a lot of the most, magical things that have happened to me, around me, through me, whatever you want to call it, have been like really happy accidents in ways or unexpected. And I think that's just sort of the key is like staying open to paying attention to when those things happen and also being able to identify when something like that happens. Like, I think that there may be a tendency to either not be paying attention or to move too fast and not see something or not identify something that may be significant. Somehow, some way though, like being able to be open enough and identify like when some unique thing happens that's unexpected, it just can open doors,
I'll put a little finer point on it. I think for me, the thing that translates from having a successful career in music and to being an innovator is bravery. Because it takes a different kind of bravery to write a song that has some kind of emotional connection to yourself and to put it out into the world and think that everybody else is going to hear this, see who you are, and then also relate to it. That's like, and then that it's going to be successful. Like you're defying many odds when you release a song and have success. And you have to be really brave to take that chance to do it.
Mhm.
And with Mother Science, it almost never happened because I wasn't brave enough to share my epiphany with anybody except for Michael. And the first call we made after just geeking out on this molecule between the two of us was to a medical inventor named Jonathan Sakier. He was one of the co-inventors of the robotic surgery technology that's aboard the Da Vinci robot.
Oh, wow.
He's a neurosurgeon, a pilot. He's just this very accomplished person who knows how to get stuff done. And Mike was like, we should tell Jonathan about your idea and see what he thinks. And I begged him not to call Jonathan.
She did. She was so
I'm a
embarrassed.
violinist. I should not be discovering molecules and having ideas about them. And I had like that heavy imposter syndrome. Everybody's dealing with it in different ways. I felt like mine was very appropriate in that moment because here I am, a musician with very light science background, calling up like a neurosurgeon who's invented robotic surgery.
Well, anytime I think, and I think this is true across all different industries and businesses, et cetera, whatever it is. The people who are the most experienced in any field, I think at a certain point become cynical because you've experienced so much and you've seen so much failure and you kind of like, you're hyper aware of the landscape. And when you're on the way in, seeing all these things and there's so much that's new to you in the beginning of it all, there's like this magic that happens where, you know, you can call it whatever you want, excitement, delusion, naivete, whatever you want to call it. But there's something really special about that stage of it. And so as someone who, like, for example, in music, I've been in, you know, around music my whole life and had a long career in it. And then, you know, I see these talented young artists that are so excited. And I even have a tendency at certain times to feel cynical, like, oh, like nothing new is going to happen, like nothing, but that's always wrong, you know? So you always have to like come in with sort of a naive dream that you can do something that's really, really hard. Because doing these things, whatever they are, is really hard to like actually achieve success or find something truly new. And all of these, like, that's hard to do. But if you don't believe and you don't have that magic driving you, like no one would do anything.
Mike had enough bravery and confidence for the two of us. He made the call, even though I was in the corner, like, cringing the whole time.
She was literally curled up in like a ball.
I kind of went
like, so like, don't do it. But to me, like, you know, and maybe that's one of the great things about, you know, like couples who are different. Like, we have really different personalities, and I think like complement each other well in that way, where like, you know, we just have different ways of doing things. And my personality is much more of like an executor. Like, I'll go out and find the people to collaborate
Mike
with.
went on to cold call other people who became invaluable members of our team and our Mother Science family. He literally Googled like, who is the top at insert what we were looking for, and then would cold call them, and they would answer the call, and then we would go into a meeting, and they would fall in love with science, and then the rest is history.
You know, when you I think though, like, if you're driven by a truly remarkable idea, like, those doors will open somehow, some way. I just believe that, you know, and that's been absolutely my experience in life in general anyway. You know, at some point, like, you know, coming from outside of that industry, like, we didn't come from dermatology. We didn't come from the, you know, the drug discovery background or a consumer skincare background. We didn't come from any of that. So, you know, like, when we're kind of creeping our way in and like trying to figure out like, okay, we think we've got a good idea, but like, you know, where are the credible voices around the table that are going to maybe give us a sanity check on this? And at every point, the further and more specialized the conversations became, we kept not being told that we didn't have a good idea. We kept being told.
We kept getting green lights and at any moment a red light could have shut us down.
We're still sort of like, you know, like almost in disbelief, but I'm also still in disbelief that I have a career as a musician. You know, like I, you know, I'm very self-taught, you know, just started a band with my friends in the garage, and it still seems like a dream. So, you know, like I just like,
you're self-taught, but you're constantly learning. And like,
yeah, I'm actually taught.
That's where it's at.
I actually just got taught by a lot of different people. You know, like when I was self-taught, maybe I didn't learn in a classroom the same way that other people did, but you still learn, and all of the knowledge that you gain, you know, can be very transformative wherever it came from.
Yeah. I bet there's scientists at the L'Oreal labs in New Jersey that are looking at this going, what the hell? Like, I never thought of that before, you know, and they've been there for decades, entrenched. And I used to call it
highly, Carmine, that is highly possible. I will say
highly possible and probable.
Yeah. The first dermatologist that we told our hypothesis to was shocked that she didn't think about the idea herself, because she treats the condition every day, looks at it every day.
Oh my God. Wow.
Treats the condition of seeing the naturally brightened skin, and then the next patient, she's treating their dark spots. And that connection.
Yeah.
And
we heard that from a lot of dermatologists, actually, because they say they see it every day. They're like, how did you guys think of this when I'm the one who sees this every day? So, you know, those were the reactions that we were getting, and still get, actually, when we talk to dermatologists now. That's
amazing. All right, let's move on to a quick lightning round. This is where the fun begins. Not that we haven't been having fun. I don't know. There's both of you, so I don't know if one of you wants to answer or you both want to answer the same question. It's fine with me. Something you believed early in your careers that you no longer believe.
I believed that you had to go to school to be good at anything. I don't believe that anymore.
Yeah, I always did not believe that. But I went to school, but I did go to school anyway, because it was, you know, I mean, that's not to downplay like what you can learn in a school. Like, it really comes down to the individual. But
I have his high school report card. That's all D's and F's, with him writing a note to himself saying like, I'm so.
I said I was fucked.
We're not allowed to say that.
Bleep that out if you want. But I was like, I must have been like 15 or something at the time, just marinating in all of the sorrow and grief that I knew I was in. And actually, to be perfectly honest, like,
the fact that you wrote a note to yourself is like really sweet, though. Like,
it's really interesting.
And then next to it is his Harvard report card, where he got all A's and B's in super hard classes. So I feel like I was such a nerd in school. I had to get straight A's, and I had to get the highest A that I could get. And that degree and the lessons that I had on the violin were my pedigree and my rock. And I felt like without these things, you don't have permission to seek more knowledge or to gain expertise or to do things in other fields. And I don't believe that anymore. I feel like innovation, really true innovation, often comes from the outside and from people who are passionate, curious, and lifelong learners. And that's where I'm going.
And I think the key to all of that is mentorship. You know, like any person who's doing anything, if you can somehow find great mentors to collaborate with, or just learn from, or just be inspired by, I mean, it's really everything. You know, like I had amazing mentors as a really young person coming up in the world of music, and it was something that I sought out in a totally not conscious fashion. I didn't even know that that's what I was doing. I was seeking these people out, that somehow I came into their orbit, and they somehow wanted to work with me in some way or another, and it led to everything that it just led to so much, you know. In my background, like, you know, when I was a teenager, I just wanted to be surrounded by music, so I immediately, as soon as I could drive, I got a job working in a recording studio. And then all of a sudden I'm around all of these musicians, and I got recruited to work at a record label. So the next thing I know, I'm in the epicenter, which was Interscope Records. I was working for Jimmy Iovine and Tom Wally, who ran Interscope Records. And, you know, if you don't know who these people are, if you're interested, Google them, because they're profound visionaries in the world of music.
Cold call them.
I just somehow
Yeah.
found myself in the orbit of like these incredible people, and I learned like what was possible. It showed me that you could make this music and write these songs, and that the whole world might pay attention to it. Doesn't mean that it was going to, but in my case, somehow it happened, you know, but I would never have even really known that those were possibilities without like seeing that whole process play out right in front of my eyes. It was like somebody doing magic tricks in front of you, and understanding though that you could do that too, and having the insane belief that it's possible, you know.
Yeah.
So any people out there, it doesn't matter if they're young or old or whatever, like anything really is possible.
Yeah, you know, when I look back on my my time in high school and college, and I think about the teachers that influenced me, there were teachers that influenced me and changed the course of my life in, you know, the direction that landed me where I am today. And there's also teachers that influenced me in the other way and deterred me from doing things.
Yeah.
You know, I am not bad in math, but my high school teachers were so boring that I hated it. And, you know, it's just like, it's so interesting. And my English teacher in high school had the greatest influence on me, and she's the reason that I'm a writer today. You know, if she weren't playing that role, I might not be a writer now. I may not have discovered that. So,
Well, and there are
yeah.
different ways. Like, for example, if there was something in life that you became obsessed with that required you to learn a certain type of math or a certain type of writing, you learn these things by necessity in a way that you're not even thinking about. Like, that's a different type of learning than when you're sitting in a classroom and, you know, having to like, you know, memorize things or like stuff that's just not interesting at the time that's being taught to you. Those are just totally different types of learning. So,
Yeah.
you know, like, and you can always, I don't know, if you're just curious, I just feel like if you're really curious about the world, those things will find you.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Just a couple more. One ingredient or skincare trend you think is overhyped nonsense?
I'm not going to answer this one. It'll get me. Everybody around me will be like, "Shut up, Mike."
Okay, what ingredient do I think is overhyped nonsense?
Like all of them. Sorry.
Okay, I'll speak to the question in like kind of a vague kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that ingredients are overhyped nonsense. It's that there's a lot of misleading language, I think, in the beauty world. So I feel like there's a lot of like science washing where they talk about a really innovative ingredient, but it's actually very incremental improvement on an existing form of that ingredient. It's not like
if they're super lucky, there's any improvement.
There might be an incremental improvement.
It's not even
or using the word complex to seem like you have something brand new when it's just a combination of ingredients that you've already gone through, and you're baking the same cake, but they've just put new language on it.
Yeah.
Or when they take a molecule that can be transformative, but they formulate it in a way that it's like in such low amounts that it's not actually
doing
going to be
anything.
active in your skin. They're just using it as buzzwords.
Right. They're riding the transformation wave. Yeah.
You will never see Mother Science put an ingredient in our formulation that's not meaningful, that's not going to actually work synergistically to get you to a result. We're never just going to say it has hyaluronic acid in it because we know you're looking for that word. If it has hyaluronic acid in it, it's because it's in a transformational amount and it pairs beautifully with Malassezin. So I feel like that would be my gripe with the beauty world is like fairy dust sprinkling ingredients in just to kind of prey on our recognition and our knowledge.
I mean, but you know, it's a business like any other. So it's like, you know, the best storytellers tend to win if you can be a great storyteller. So maybe all the products aren't the greatest, but at the same time, you gotta respect the hustle. You gotta respect the ability. Like some are really great marketers and storytellers, and that's really like, you know,
they have good copywriters.
Yeah, they've got great copywriters. There's a place for them at the table. So I'm not going to hate on anybody.
Yeah,
like
not at all. Hate on anybody, but we'll just say how we approach the the addition of active ingredients in our products.
Yeah. I mean, we know how hard it is to build something, meaningful that we'll connect with. So whatever, obviously, as long as people aren't being harmed, in any way, it's hard to build things that connect with people out there. So, if people are great at marketing and storytelling and that's what's connecting for them, good for them.
Yeah. One daily ritual that contributes most to your personal wellness, physical or mental.
I know what mine is.
What?
Every single morning, Mike brings me a glass of water and a cup of coffee while I'm still in bed.
Oh, wow.
And he's never skipped a morning, no matter how sleep deprived he is, no matter how many times he got up in the middle of the night to take care of our baby. He just gets up and he brings it to me. I will sometimes wake up, and to check if he's awake, to bring me the coffee and the water, I'll just say coffee, water, life.
Yeah, coffee, water, life.
And he just gets out of bed and brings it to me.
I do.
Every
That's
day.
amazing.
Never skipped a
Everybody
day.
needs a mic. I don't have a mic. I have to do that on my own.
I'm
water and coffee.
He's on mine.
Okay.
No, there's like an AI version, like an avatar that will bring you coffee.
Yes, totally. There you go.
A small license fee,
Mike, you'll love this one. A song from your own catalog or someone else's that best captures the spirit or energy of Mother Science.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can it be a film?
Sure.
It's your own can't dodge the question.
No. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
It's a lightning round. You can be anything you want.
Trying to move the goalposts around. That's a really, really hard question to answer. A song that best represents Mother Science.
I know what I would say.
You pick one.
No, it's got.
No. I just want to know what yours is.
After you.
No, I can't. It's too hard. You go first.
I would pick Drive. It's the most well-known song that they have. And when I was talking about what led this brand to exist, and it was being courageous and getting over your fear, what are the lyrics of the chorus?
Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there with open arms and open eyes.
Yeah. But there's something about there's something in the verse about fear. There's a fear.
Yeah.
Take the wheel.
About letting the fear take the wheel and steer. Wheel and steer. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not the singer, obviously.
Yeah. Here, take the wheel and steer, and then whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be here with open arms and open eyes. It's just like kind of like you have to go through being afraid, and if you're able to do that, and you have the right team, and you're able to be brave and confident and open-minded, good things are coming for you.
I love that.
You're better at talking about stuff than I am. So no,
now.
like I can't say it better than that. Like that, like that's what I would say, and that's what I am saying. So I'm just agreeing with my wife.
All right. Well, I think that's the perfect sentiment to end on.
The next time I see you, Carmine, I'll still be trying to think about how to answer that question.
I look forward to it. All right. I thank you so much, both. I'm going to drop links to the products in the show notes, and I'm excited to share that you've granted me a Skincarma code for a 20% discount on the products at motherscience.com, and that's Skincarma. It's at the top of the episode. You should be able to spell it. 20% off, and that goes through April 13th, 2026. Thank you so much. This was incredible. I'm so excited and inspired.
Thank you for having us, Carmine.
Yes, thanks for talking with us.
For sure. Incredible. All right. Ciao, you guys. All right. Thank you for listening to the Skincarma Pod. Find more insights, real talk, and reviews of my favorite skincare products on the Skincarma blog at skincarma.com. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate and review this episode. It helps me to reach more listeners. Ciao.